It's Cyclone Sunday with Ben Bruns. Breaking everything down from the Channel Seed Studios. This is Iowa Everywhere.
What is going on? Another week of Cyclone Sunday being on the road. Truly Iowa Everywhere. Aiden Wyatt here with Ben Bruns. I'm here at the D, Bar Canada. I got a Circus Sportsbook behind me. I got the Sigma Derby right in front of me. I'm in the thick of it.
I love it. I'm here at our good friend Lynn Davis's childhood home. My son is singing in the background.
Equally as cool.
Can't really figure
cool,
that out. It's currently deer camp, and when we're done, I'm going to go skin and butcher a deer. So, life is good, man. Life is good.
Big day for all of us. Big day for the Cyclones. Iowa State 31-28.
I'm not sure who's going to get dirtier, Aiden.
Right. Iowa State 31-28 winners over Utah, getting win number 9 on the year. Let's start on the offense. I think we want to talk Roco Becht. Obviously, 20-38, 256 yards, touchdown, one costly pick six that really, really changed the game for Iowa State.
Exactly.
It seems like he makes every difficult throw like it's nothing. But it seems to be the easy ones for some reason. Just lately, he's been a hair off. What do you think?
Well, so a couple things about his game. I think the first thing is I felt like Roco did a much, much, much better job with his pocket presence in this game. And then he stepped up into it. He, through knowing that he was going to get hit, he didn't try to scramble out and make plays where he didn't have to. And I think for that reason, we were much more effective as an offense. And I think that you start with that, and that's a huge progress. It was obvious that was intentional. Like, it seemed like he had been working on that, and they had been working on that, right? Repping, hey, stay here, step into it, like throw, and if it's not there, throw it deep down the field late, out of bounds over the top of a receiver, like Utah didn't do. But those two plays in the goal line, right? We're inside the 30, and the pick six was one where he's on the run. It's it's a simple for me to say, right? But for somebody who has the ability that he does, that has the consistency that he does, that seems like a simple throw and catch. And it was not catchable. That was not a good throw. And so you can tell C-Dub I said that. Noel is on the run, right? He's got to lead him in a spot where he can catch it. Even if it's like back here, that's okay. But it's like back here, right? So that's a really costly play. But here's the interesting part. Like, Iowa State got to a 10-point lead again later in the game, and then let that slip because we didn't convert on another overthrow or backside throw to Carson Brown, and then we missed the field goal, right? And then Utah comes out and runs the football and gets a score, and now all of a sudden, they're back in the game, and it's Utah is a bad football team. Bad. I didn't think that they would look like that. They're not a good football team. And Iowa State, let them hang around. And that's been a little bit of the MO of the Cyclones this year, is to maybe play with our food. That's not, not exactly it, but I think the Texas Tech game for sure fits into the category of you let people hang around that you should be beating, and this kind of stuff can happen. And so you have to have a missed field goal from a guy who karma is my boyfriend. He had committed originally to Iowa State, backed out at the last minute to go to Colorado, ends up at Utah, and misses the game tying kick. So sorry for him. But Roco and Anthony, like they got the camera on Anthony, they got the camera on Roco during that stretch. And you could visibly see the tension in both of those guys, right? Like, everybody understands what this means at this moment in time. And I think the piece, there's a really good team sports psychology book out there called The Twin Thieves. And it's written by Steve Jones, the guy that led Kimberly in Wisconsin to 7 straight state championships and undefeated seasons. Like, he won 72 games in a row or something crazy. And you know, the fear of judgment, right? We all have the fear of judgment, which can be equated to the fear of failure, right? But then we also have the fear of success. And that's the one that is more insidious, right? Fear of judgment, fear of failure, like, we all can kind of, you know, when we deal with our stress, you know, a lot of people can get their head around how to get past that. It's a lot harder to get your head around how to get past the fear of success. And, you know, that drop punt, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Like, that has not been what we've done all season long, right? And here's a leader on the team, you know, with that. And, you know, sometimes, like, plays just happen, right? Bad things happen. And Matt does a great job with these guys about saying, look, you've got to move on past that moment. But this Iowa State football team, in order for it to accomplish what it really wants this year, knows how to get past the fear of failure, right? Like, when their backs are against the wall, they're as good as anybody in the country. Roco having a game-winning drive at the end of the take that all day, every day. Every day. Like, he is so good. We are so good in that situation. That play call, the halfback pass, was so good. Higgins' play in this game was so good. He just dominated this football game, and they left him in man coverage a bunch of times. And, you know, Roco took advantage. And you know, that last scoring drive, we had 2 underthrows, and good news, right? Because it took time off the clock, and you know, you still converted for a touchdown to take the lead. Man, I just think that if this football team is going to be, you know, is going to win next week, they're going to win the week after that, to get into, you know, the championship and have a chance to play in that first round. And then who knows what happens after that. Like, once you get there, there's no fear anymore, right? Because you're the underdog, and nobody expects you to win. But right now, this week, you've got to deal with your fear of success. And I really hope that Matt and the guys can get to that place of embracing the success and just, like, visualizing and picturing themselves in that success, right? And I've heard people say, well, you know, this is the biggest game. I mean, Hassel tweeted it, and I love Hassel's stuff. So, you know, I thought his tweet was good. But, you know, his tweet before the game was, this is the biggest game of Iowa State's history. And I'm going to say no. At the time, no. I mean, the Big 12 championship game in 2020 was the biggest game of Iowa State's football history, in my mind, right? And to me, that's not close. But this one, you know, was right up there. And now, after you win, it's super arguable, right, that this next one could be, right? And it's okay, right? Like that's what we want. That's why you do all this stuff. That's why they did all that work. You got to believe that your work that you did was better than everybody else's, right? You got to believe that that you can make the plays better than Kansas State can. And you know what? You're not playing everybody. You're not playing every team. You're not playing all the history of Iowa State football. You're not playing past failures. You're not playing past successes. You are playing the Kansas State Wildcats on Saturday, and it's going to be cold AF. And so, like, let's just show up as fans, but let's not, like, as fans, right? Because the team feels what we feel too, right? And so you as fans, us as fans, we can't be sitting there like, oh gosh, I wonder when the other shoe's going to drop. We're going to go play it. We're going to go ball out and see what happens. Bottom line. And I think we're better in Kansas State, but we don't know yet. So, like, let's just go give it a run, right? And not be afraid of being champions.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall after that. That was incredible.
This stuff, like, Aiden, it is as much about life. It is as much about mentality as it is about football. And, you know, that's one of the things that makes football so freaking great, right, is because, like, and it's true in business too, right? For anybody watching this, I get the stick to sports thing all the time. It's true in your business. Like, you can't fear success. You got to love it. You got to embrace it. It's true when you go hunting, right? It's true when you go to place that bet, right? Like, visualize it, see it, like, know that you're going to be successful, right? Let's get it.
Let's get it. So I want to circle back a little bit. Well, first of all, we talk about the block punt, the missed field goal, the pick six, the muff punt. And it's like, how does Iowa State win this game? There's been like 3 games where there's these crazy things that happens to Iowa State, and they still find a way to win. It's incredible.
It is incredible. Their will to win against, like, they believe in themselves as the underdog. There's no doubt. And we believe in them as the underdog. You got to believe in yourself as the champion, as the favorite, like as the reigning heavyweight king, right? And so that's a newer position for Iowa State to be in, and it's one that I think it's been an evolution toward. But man, like, it's part of the reason Iowa State maybe felt the way they did in the game is because Utah was bad. Like, they knew from the word go that, like, we were going to be able to move the football, 25 downs to Utah's 9, twice the yardage. And yet, there's a 52-yard field goal at the end that's separating the whole thing. But, like, mistakes are going to happen, right? And I love that we talk about that all the time, as a team and as a staff. I mean, you can hear it. Hark talked about it on his tweet after the game, that you got to be able to answer the call of adversity, but you got to also believe in games like the ones that we're going to face, right? In games like Saturday, you got to believe that you're better than them from the start and that you deserve it.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I thought the Iowa State linebackers were fantastic in that game. What'd you think?
Well, before we flip to the defense, we need to talk about the what Chris Williams is calling the greatest play call in Iowa State history. I want to get your thoughts on this. 3rd and 1. Iowa State at the Utah 29, 28-24. Coming out of the 2-minute timeout, I think maybe once again the 2-minute timeout saved Iowa State.
Yeah.
Do you think that they would have made that play call if it wasn't for the timeout to kind of gather yourself and be like, all right, we're running this. Everyone get on the same page. Let's do it.
Good question. I hadn't thought about it that way, Aiden. You're right. It does give you a minute to say, okay, we're gonna do this. We believe in this. We've practiced it. We've worked it. I've been critical the last couple of weeks of us doing stuff that clearly we hadn't worked enough, right? And so you got to execute when you do something new in a game. And I think the part that was so great about that was, A, it was a surprise, right? But B, it was blocked really well. Like, the 2 guys that pulled out had good blocks, Klotz and I think it was Black, and just sealed the thing so that there was Miller reaching that guy. It's like you've got to execute that part of it to have a chance. And sometimes, right, people are too juiced up and they overthrow that pass. And Roco's throw earlier when he had one-on-one coverage on that same drive where, it's so easy to overthrow both those balls, right? And I think just knowing, hey, look, he's got lots of room, just put it out there soft so he can run underneath it and grab it. That it's just great execution. And, I just keep loving watching Carson Hansen continue his career as a Cyclone. Capping it with that touchdown run was just very, very well deserved. I thought Klotz played great football, really, really well, and I thought the offensive line played well, and at times really well in this game. But hats off to taking a minute and saying, you know what, like we're going to do this. And the minute he stepped back and I saw Steve-O going down the field, I'm like, here we go. Like it's there, right? Come on.
I mean,
so good.
And in the moment you're like, oh God, don't overthrow it.
Yeah.
Man, because it was so open. So open.
Yeah.
Cyclone Sunday here on Iowa Everywhere in the Channel Seed Studios. Ben Bruns, Aiden Wyatt. Iowa State wins 31-28 over Utah. Let's flip it to the defense now. You talk about linebackers. I thought Jack Sadowski was awesome yesterday. Will McLaughlin finally catching up to speed a little bit. Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, he played great, and he was, the game had slowed down for him, right? Like we talked about it last week, that the game seemed kind of fast for Will coming back. I just thought Iowa State again started to look like as the early part of that game came around, it's like, okay, this is the Iowa State defense I remember. This is the one where a guy looks like he has space, and all of a sudden he's down, right? And what looks like it could be an 8-yard gain or bigger is a 2-yard tackle, but it's a solo tackle in space, right? And or maybe even a TFL, right? Like you think there's a play there and then it just goes away and vanishes. I think Iowa State in the linebacking group had their best game that I can remember this season on Saturday. And it makes a difference when you've got a quarterback who really is going to struggle throwing the football down the field. Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah, which, you kind of flip it back to Iowa State's issue next week with Avery Johnson. How do you feel about next week, Kansas State, Iowa State's defense going against that offense?
I think everything that Iowa State did well in this game, they got to do well again. I thought Dom Orange was awesome again, just awesome, right? He's playing like he's balling. And so we need that again. I thought Iowa State did a pretty good job containing quarterback scramble, but you got a guy who's going to be able to scramble and throw it this time, right? As opposed to scramble and just run it. And that creates a whole different set of challenges. But, Iowa State has what it takes to win this game defensively. I think it could be a higher scoring game based on it's like I was thinking back to Farmageddon, which I watched here with Lynn last year. And man, I remember feeling like that thing was a beatdown, and we won up by like one score. It's like, how, what? Like I looked at the score again this year, and I'm like, okay. I guess K-State.
It did not feel like it was close.
No,
I mean it was explosive play after explosive play. Yeah,
right. And they didn't go away. Like we would score. And then we'd build a little bit of a bigger lead, and then they'd score and get it back to a touchdown, and then we'd score and stretch it out to a touchdown. Like this is going to be a super competitive game. Doesn't matter who you are, it's going to be a competitive game. So both sides want to win this thing. I'm sure K-State has equations in which they could still make the championship game, and they. The only way for them to possibly achieve that is to win, and the same is true for Iowa State. I mean, well, maybe that's not true. We're probably out if we lose and other things happen. I haven't looked at any of that. Like, who cares, right? Like, this is a case where if you win, you're in. Let's get it done.
And talking about Big 12 scenarios, I want to say that this is officially not a Jayhawk podcast anymore. Following last week, we were big Jayhawk fans yesterday. They got it done for us, and now Iowa State controls their own destiny once again.
That team, that Kansas team, and we said it after the game, is playing the best football of anybody in the conference. Like that team is finally the team that they thought they were going to have earlier in the year, and they stepped in to help us just in the nick of time after they hurt us a little bit. But it doesn't matter, right? If you don't do the little things early in the year, if you don't handle your business, you don't get a chance like this. And so, Iowa State handled our business this week, even though, we played with our food. So love it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I saw someone tweet is Kansas the best team in the Big 12 right now? And I'm like, oh, they might be.
Absolutely.
Best 5 and 6 team in the country, and it's not close.
They're a handful. And, you know, it was different than the Texas Tech game, right? I felt like we were the better football team in that Texas Tech game. I felt like Kansas just straight up beat us, right? Like they just made more plays. They just, you know, played great football. And, you know what? It doesn't matter at this point, right? What matters is they did the damage we needed them to do, and now it's up to us. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. 6:30 next week on Fox. Pack the Jack. Sell it out, Cyclone fans. Iowa State playing for a chance to go to the Big 12 title game. Brunsy, that's all I got for you, my man.
All right, buddy.
Thank you for finding time as always. For Ben Bruns, Aiden Wyatt. Cyclone Sunday here from the Channel Seed Studios, only on the Iowa Everywhere Network. We will see you next week.